Hey there, crafty friends. Welcome back to this channel, the place where we turn fabric, thread, and a sprinkle of humor into amazing creation. Today we're making something that's equal parts functional and fabulous. The Slim Duo card wallet. Trust me, this little gem is a game changer. Whether you're organizing cards, coins, or other tiny essentials, this wallet has got your back. Plus, it's slim enough to slide into even the tiniest of bags. I mean, who doesn't love multitasking wallets, right? All right, let's dive into it. Grab your favorite snack because we're about to turn this sewing session into the most productive 20 minutes of your day. Let's get started. First things first, let's talk supplies. For these projects, you need your main body fabric that measures 8.5 inches. I'm talking of 8.5 inches high by 5.5 inches wide. For this, you're going to be cutting two pieces for the exterior and two pieces for the lining. So as you can see, I've gone ahead to cut these already. And then something I did was, because since this is the duo wallet, I decided to cut my exteriors out of two different fabrics. Then you need 4 pairs of snap buttons or any kind of closure you want to use. You need your clips. You need a pair of scissors. You need a thread cutter, a ruler, and a measuring tape. You need a fabric marker, double-sided tape, a matching thread, and of course your sewing machine. And oh, don't forget to grab some fusible fleece if your fabric needs a little extra structure. If you're using vinyl or a thicker material, you might be able to skip the fleece. I'll explain more in a bit. So because I am using this faux leather or is it vinyl that does not need extra structure, I did not need to use to fuse fusible fleece to the wrong side. But for my lining fabrics, I went ahead to fuse SF101 to the wrong side. But you can decide to use any medium weight interfacing of your choice. Now let's get into sewing. We're going to be adding a little shape to the top edge of our main body pieces. So this is where the wallet gets its sleek tapered look. You're going to take your main body pieces, both the exterior and the lining. At the top of each piece, you're going to be measuring 1 inch in from the side edges and also 1 inch down from the top. Mark these points with your fabric marker, and then you're going to be drawing a straight line diagonally to connect these marks. You're doing this on each side of your pieces. So I've done this too. I've started with one of the lining pieces. I'm going to go ahead and I'll continue with the remaining pieces. When you're done connecting those marks, you're now going to grab your scissors and you're going to cut along these lines. As soon as you're done with your first piece, you're going to be repeating the same thing with the other pieces. While this is going on, you can go ahead and grab your supplies if you have not yet grabbed them, because this will go as fast as possible. This will go faster than we even think, because as soon as we're done with tapering the edges, we'll be sewing. Next, let's sandwich these pieces together. Place your main body pieces right sides together. So you're going to be placing your lining right side facing you, and then you're going to be placing your exterior on that right sides together. If you're using fusible fleece, go ahead and fuse it to the wrong side of your exterior pieces now. I'm skipping this step because the vinyl I'm using is thick enough to hold this shape. Once that is done, you'll be clipping or pinning the layers together. Pro tip: clips work best for vinyl or leather, since pins can leave permanent holes. Now let's head to the sewing machine. We're going to be stitching around the edges at about 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. But don't forget to leave a 3-inch gap at the bottom for turning. So what we're doing is that we're stitching from the left edge, from the bottom a bit and left edge, the top tapered edges and the right edge. So we're just stitching around the three edges and just a bit at the bottom. Then you're going to be grabbing your scissors again to trim the seam allowance to about a quarter of an inch. While you're trimming, don't trim the edges that have not been sewn yet, and also make sure you do not cut into your seams. We're going to be doing this for both wallet panels. Now, if you're using leather, cork, or vinyl to fold your seam allowance, you might need a double-sided tape. If you're using just fabric, it's fine. You can just use a pressing iron to press the seam allowance. Now here comes the fun part, turning this inside out. Carefully pull the wallet panels through the gap that we left earlier in the bottom edge. It's just like watching a caterpillar transform into a butterfly, except this time around it's fabric. Once it's turned, you're going to grab a blunt tool, like the back of a pencil or a chopstick, or like I'm doing right now, the blunt part of my scissors to gently push out the corners. Remember, sharp corners equals happy wallets. Then you're going to be folding the seam allowance in. So remember, I already folded my seam allowance with double-sided tape for the exterior parts, for the lining part with my pressing iron. I'm just going to repeat with the other wallet panel. So both wallet panels have now been turned out. Everything is all looking nice and flat. Then we're going to be closing up the turning gap. If you're using fabric, like I said earlier, just press the seam allowance the hot iron to make everything nice and flat. For leather or vinyl, skip the iron and use double-sided tape. Now we're going to be heading back to our sewing machine and we're going to top stitch just the bottom edge to close the turning gap. So please don't rush this part. Neat top stitching is what makes this wallet from homemade to handcrafted masterpiece, and this is what we actually want. So everything is now done. In case your wallets are not looking identical, don't worry, you'll still be fine. Now here comes the another fun part. Actually, we're going to be designing our card slots, or maybe almost final assembly. Now you're going to take one of the wallet panels and you're going to flip over to the lining side. Here's what we're going to do. We're drawing a box actually for the card slots, or maybe like don't let me say for the card slots, to join both wallets. You're going to start by marking a line at 2 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom edge. So 2 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom edge, and measure another 2 1/4 of an inch from the top tapered edge. So what I had to do to get this right, or to explain it better, is after marking the 2 3/4 of an inch from the bottom edge, I had to draw a line. So what you're basically doing is that you're drawing a line. So you're drawing a line at 2 3/4 of an inch from the bottom edge. 2 3/4 is just a quarter before the 3-inch mark on your ruler or your measuring tape, and 2 1/4 of an inch is just a quarter after the 2-inch mark on your ruler or your measuring tape. So you are drawing these lines from the bottom edge and from the top edge. So meaning you're going to have 2 lines. Make sure when you're doing this, you're using an erasable marker. Then you're now going to measure 1/2 inch from each side of these lines. As you can see, I'm measuring 1/2 inch on each side of these lines. So that means we're going to have four marks. They are going to connect these lines vertically to form a box. Yeah. So this is just to close up the marking of our box. Once your box is ready, you're going to be stitching around this box. I'm going to be using the line we just drew. Before we start, you're going to place both wallet panels right sides together. Make sure the edges are, at least matching. If you're, in case your wallet panels are not equal, mine was not actually, mine were not equal, so it's fine, but the difference must not be too much. If you notice from here, like the difference I have is not so much, because while stitching, a few things would have happened with your vinyls or your fabrics. So what I'm doing right now is I'm clipping both wallet panels in place to get them ready for stitching. So I'm going to be stitching around this box that I just drew, and you'll be following the lines we just drew as guide. And then don't forget to backstitch at the start and stop of your stitching, because we don't want our wallet unraveling. So now that this is done, it's time to fold things up. We're going to fold the bottom edge of our first panel along the line that we drew earlier, or along this where we just stitched. Align the sides carefully. Then you clip in place. Make sure both sides are well aligned. Now that this is clipped in place, you'd notice that our first wallet is almost done. We're going to be repeating this process with the second panel. So you're going to fold just like we did earlier, the bottom edge of the second panel along the line that we drew and stitched at the bottom. And then we're going to align the sides carefully. Then we're going to clip those sides in place. As soon as clipping is done, you're going to be stitching around the edges to secure both wallets. So you stitch just the 3 sides, you're not stitching the bottom. So what you do is that you push, whenever you're stitching one, you have to push the other one out of your way so you can stitch. You're stitching the sides and the tip and the top tapered edges. And just like that, we now have 2 wallets ready to become a dynamic duo. So as soon as this is done, we're going to be giving our wallets some closure. So what this means is that we're installing 2 snap buttons on each wallet. Make sure you follow the instructions for your snap setter or your snap kit, and make sure they are evenly spaced. So you could decide to use just one, that's if you want, but I prefer to use 2 so that my edges are well laid. So first we're going to install the male part of our snap buttons. Then after installing the male buttons, you're going to use the position of the male buttons to find the position or the perfect position for the female buttons, and then you're done. By the time you are done, you realize that not only is this wallet sleek and slim, it is also incredibly versatile. And it's perfect for those that love to stay organized, or probably those that also need a little help getting organized. You can also personalize this wallet in so many ways. You can decide to use bold fabrics for a fun pop of color. You can go classy with leather or vinyl, or you can even mix and match different prints for each wallet. Who says a matching set has to be boring? You can also use this as handmade gifts for family and friends, especially for the holidays, also for birthdays, or just as a thinking of you present. Don't forget, you can always whip up a few extras to sell at craft fairs or on your online shop. So now, if in case you're sitting there wondering, can I really do this? As you can see, it's not as hard as it looked when we first started. So don't be afraid to experiment and make this project your own, because the more you make, the better you get. As you can see, our slim duo wallet is done with our snaps installed. And there you have it, folks, the slim duo card wallet. It's perfect for carrying up to 12 cards, organizing your coins and cash, or maybe just showing off your sewing skills. Whether you're keeping this for yourself or you're gifting one to a friend, this wallet is sure to impress. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're just using this for cards, it can hold at least 12 cards, or you can split the load between coins on one side and notes on the other. I would love to hear your thoughts. Which fabric would you use for this project? What kind of things will you store in your Steam Duo card wallet? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always here to cheer you on and answer any questions you have. Before you go, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you found it helpful, or if you just enjoy hanging out with me. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more fun projects like this one. And hit that notification bell so you're first to know when new tutorials go live. If you're really loving this content and want to support my work, check out my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Your support helps me keep creating these tutorials and sharing them with this amazing community of sewists. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope this project sparks your creativity and inspires you to keep sewing. Until next time, happy stitching, stay creative, and remember, there's nothing you can't make with a little fabric, a little thread, and a lot of hearts. Bye.